This is Jeff Byers from Creature Replica, and you're listening to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, the head shrinker Harley.
That's me. I like the head shrinkers, too. That was a good tag team.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Ben Harley, broadcasting here from the first snow day of the St. Louis snow day of the season.
Yeah, you guys got hit pretty hard. I mean,
well, it's more the cold. We only got like an inch or two of snow. And even for this area, it's not that bad. But what happened was it was, like this, I don't know how, I'm sure it's similar to where you're at right now, but it was like 60 this weekend. And then it just fell apart yesterday. Like it started off kind of cold and then started raining and changing to snow. And it went from 60 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that causes issues.
It was weird because I said, well, it's going to snow a little bit in the morning. And I was like, all right. It snowed all day, you know, and it started off with like a real wet, nasty snow.
Right.
And then we ended up getting about 2 inches and then it froze. But schools they had a 2-hour delay this morning. I'm not sure if they're going to cancel.
You're north. I mean, I live north. I know how much tougher people are up there. Down here, it's like if it gets below 30, kids need to stay inside the house. It's insane. It blows me away. I was at the dentist with Chance yesterday. He was getting his teeth cleaned, and the lady who was doing it, she was from Chicago. So me and her were talking Decatur, Chicago's weather because it was snowing outside. And I drove Chance up there, no problem. But the problem here was that it snowed, it was slushy. Sounds like what happened there, and then froze real fast. Yeah. And the ice, that's the problem. The ice, and stuff. Now when it's 10 degrees, I understand kids. You stand there, and they claim it's for standing around for the bus and going to school and stuff. Oh, okay, all right, whatever. I'm just bitter. They owe me a few days of school.
Bitter. Oh, they owe me a lot. Yeah. But it was like to get a snow day was like insane. You had to, apocalypse. Now it's just a little dusty and something else, and they're getting 2-hour delays and punk kids.
Right. So,
I'll show them.
All right, well, let's see what we got here in our snow day, Mr. Ben. Let's go through a few things here real quick here. Have I said hello to all the deep thinkers listening?
Deep
thinkers, that's right.
Yeah.
Our audience is comprised of 110% deep thinkers. Chew on that for a little while. Let's see, we got, November 29th at the pageant. My band Fragile Porcelain Mice will be playing with The Urge. That's coming up. That's really coming up. So by the time you hear this, it might be like in a week or so tops. So
it's coming up quick.
It is. It's coming. And then along with that November 29th show, the Black Friday show, we're going to have a special guest with us. Let me get on my orange hunting vest. Hold on.
Okay.
Get that on here. Let's do that. Get on my Hicks collar. Where's it at? There it is. Here's my Hicks collar. Here we go. All right. I better stop it. The weather is inclement, and Hicks might try to fly in.
His
wings might freeze.
He ain't gonna be happy.
No. I'll be spraying antifreeze on his arms when he gets in.
Like, what the hell's going on here?
Mr. Danny Hicks. It will be Hicks season. We will have Mr. Danny Hicks from Darkman, Intruder, Evil Dead 2. He will be co-hosting the show with us.
Stalking Bigfoot.
Yes, Stalking Bigfoot. Thank you. And he will be escorting me and Angie, I guess, to my show.
Yeah.
So he will be there as well.
Nice.
So looking forward to that.
It's always good to have a bodyguard, Tim.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. It's always good to have a nice body, too. But if I got one garden, what I got, it's gardening. It's fine. We're good. Let's see here. I just wanted to mention this, Mr. Ben Harley. Now, it could have been last week, if not 2 weeks ago. I mentioned to you the movie Bloodstalkers.
Yes.
And I was complaining that, I can't find a good copy of it. Somebody's going to put this out. I know they're going to do it. Yeah, I'd like to thank Mr. John Kitley from Kitley's Crypt for posting a link so that I could go buy the Blu-ray of Bloodstalkers coming out November 26th, which happens to be the same day that Prophecy is coming out. So yes, I'm out another $30. Thank you. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah. And this wasn't even this wasn't even that they were listening. This was like it's coming out. So this was almost like a melting of the minds. Like we were headed for a headbutt. Me and I think it's Garage House Pictures or whatever, the company. We were heading for an impact, and it happened. It happened. Now, Bloodstalkers, Harley, is the movie I mentioned to you that had a lot of 70s cleavage and was a pseudo Bigfoot movie.
Yeah. Now you had me at both. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sending you something so we can discuss it here in the future at some point. So
okay,
but yeah, it just freaked me out because every time we mention something needs to come out in Blu-ray, I keep saying like Mute Witness needs to come out in Blu-ray. Let's see what else needs to come out in Blu-ray.
Mute Witness would be good.
It would be good. I love that movie. And then what else? Fiend Without a Face. Let's get that on Blu-ray. That's a fun old one. Come on now, people.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this. I'm experimenting at this point, seeing what happens if I just say it out loud and throw it into the ether.
Say it proud, Timo. Say it loud and proud, my man.
I know.
We got to keep telling them because there's a lot of these movies that need to be put out, on Blu-ray. There's tons of them. There's always hope.
No? Yeah, there is always hope, right? So let's get to what I watched this week, Mr. Ben Harley. Got quite a bit. Angio was at her grandma's house this weekend.
Oh,
gallivanting.
Had some times to yourself.
Yeah, she's partying out there with Chance and Corey and her grandma, and like her parents showed up. So it was a wild one.
I
stayed home with the dog. I had to dog sit. So I'm just going to run through some stuff here from 2017, Mr. Ben Harley. This is on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a movie called The Price of Fame. And this is the documentary about the DiBiase's. It is. Now I'm going to warn everybody. If you can't handle this, then forget it. It is a bit of a faith-based documentary, but it doesn't. It's not trying to indoctrinate you. It's trying to say that these two guys are Christians, and they, instead of saying fate brought us together, they say Jesus. So it is what it is. But it's a poignant story, no matter what. I appreciate the other wrestlers, whether or not they were born again or whatever you want to call it or not, they had some nice things to say about Ted DiBiase. It was nice to see his kid and him on there and everything, who had a short run there. He'll probably have another few runs in wrestling, I'm sure. But
sure. Well, it's the documentary is really, it's just good.
You watched it too?
And I learned a few things that I didn't know, and I'd heard before about Vince McMahon being, if that was a persona, his wrestling persona, he would have been the $1 Million Man. Like that was his baby. Mm-hmm. And then, but I had no idea that they were actually giving him all that stuff though. So he could really portray being the $1 Million Man. Like
I'd love to be that character, wouldn't you?
Oh man.
Oh, you're going to be limos. Okay, I'm glad I'm not Hillbilly Jim, I guess. That's great.
Oh, man, they really put a lot behind him, and you really can't, you can blame the guy, but for the stuff that happened, like, what do you expect, what I mean? Like, at some point, a guy's only human, you know what I mean? Good stuff, though. Yeah, I'm glad you watched it.
It wasn't too bad. So, not to be outdone by that, Mr. Ben Harley, from 1999, Angio and I were just, I don't know what we were talking about. It was about wrestling. Corey went and saw his first wrestling match. He went to WWE. So we were talking a little bit about wrestling. Of course, we went and saw your wrestling event. That's the only real wrestling that Chance and Angio have really had contact with, except for Rhino, who Angie just knows Rhino as our friend, our big muscular friend who sits with us at a show every now and then. But she doesn't really understand wrestling. So I pulled out and we watched... from 1999, The Unreal Story of Professional Wrestling.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's the A&E documentary. Came out in 99. Now, it's interesting because sadly, 99 also marks the decline of me following wrestling.
Yeah.
You basically once the WWF or WWE bought WCW, my interest kind of went down because then it was all work. All work,
Mm-hmm.
Something I wanted to mention, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah.
I got a little excited while we were watching it. I paused it. I pointed. I started looking at Angie. I said, "See, right there, Terry Sullivan."
Yeah, you saw Terry?
He was on the Unreal. Yeah, he's on. He is on there a couple of times, and they have a couple shots in Big Time Wrestling. And I pointed it out to Angie. I said, "There you go." Now they had some stuff from the Chase down here and everything too. But
that's awesome,
and I think they were talking about how Lou Thez started. I mean, a lot of it started here in St. Louis. Lou Thez and Ed Gotch. We're aspiring here in St. Louis, and that's kind of how the Lou Thez thing got going. So, and I told Angio, I said that Ohio Valley and St. Louis are the biggest wrestling cities of all time. Yeah. I mean, you can talk about your Madison Square Garden, all that. No.
Yeah.
No. We've known in St. Louis that Ohio's the other spot, and I'm sure you guys know about St. Louis, and St. Louis is basically the heart of it. And then you guys are real spread out up there, which is cool.
Because Detroit, from Detroit down
Toledo,
through the Ohio Valley is just, and it's funny because a lot of people, they travel that route. Mm-hmm. And like we were talking about the territories, that's just what's made it so much fun. You could be somewhere for 6 months in St. Louis, cause all this trouble and loser leaves town match. And you come up here to Detroit area and wrestle for 6 more months. Yeah. Go back to St. Louis with a mask on. Yeah. And it starts all over again. And it's fresh. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So
love it.
I miss those days. But you know what? St. Louis, like just that whole, the Harley race, all that stuff, and the southern states, it's just always so much fun too. Just like all that stuff. And then, you had the Detroit area and all that. And too, even, and I will have to say like Indiana and stuff had some pretty good wrestling too back in the day.
I just like that documentary. And I think I like it because it pretty much stops when there were still two big companies.
Yep.
And nothing had really happened. They were still kind of vying for whatever they're doing. And I just think that it's a time capsule that I like stopping right there. I'm waving my cane around and I'm done with it right there. So it's amazing. That's an old documentary. It's 20 years old.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
That's why time just keeps going, Timo.
It sure does, and I don't, which is odd. But moving forward, Mr. Ben Harley, let's see here. From 1970 on Amazon Prime, watch the movie Mark of the Witch.
Okay.
This is a 70s kind of a grindhouse, slow burn, like a witch possessing a Curvy McCurvington gal, which is good. To murder and get revenge for things that happened in the past to her ancestor. It's every witch story you've ever seen. The girl definitely, because she starts off as like a Miss American Pie, like cutie little, more like a 60s, 50s looking girl. And then by the end of it, she's showing you everything and you're like, where are my 3D glasses at? That's all I got to tell you. I like the curvy girls, and this girl is like, she's again, her name, if you want to look it up on IMDb, is Curvy McCurvington. So, Mark of the Witch. It is a slow burn movie. I found it mildly entertaining for what it is.
Was that on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of talking, but man, she's worth at least fast forwarding and finding the good parts. So let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. From 2016 on Amazon Prime, watched a movie called Seoul Station. Seoul is like the city Seoul. Okay. South Korea. This is an animated prequel to Train to Busan. Now, I don't know if I don't know anything I just said there. Train to Busan was a South Korean zombie film that took place on a train. And it was good. It was wild. It was a wild movie. Now, before that movie was made, the director started on an animated feature, which was tied into that story. During it, he finally got the funds to make the live action, so he made it. When he was done with the live action film, which was a big international hit, he finished the prequel, the animated one. And as an artist, I would suggest you watch this.
That's pretty cool. Man.
Yeah, I'd suggest you watch it. It is a good animated horror story, and it's a good story. It's well written.
Okay.
So it's well drawn. It's good, but it's a well-written story.
Okay.
So
we need that.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't get enough of that anymore.
No, not at all. We have to go to Korea for them, but still.
Yeah.
Not bad, though. I would suggest maybe checking that one out while you're printing or something.
Yeah.
I think you might appreciate the artistry of it and everything.
What's the name again?
It's called Seoul Station. Seoul, like the city Seoul.
Yeah.
Station. It is on Amazon Prime. I can confirm that. So let's see. Moving along, Mr. Ben Harley. From 1987. This is also on Amazon Prime. From 1987. I had the weekend to myself. Angio was.
Yeah, you were jumping around.
She was at her grandma's, like I was saying. So I was trying to get some stuff in here. So from 1987, I watched. I don't know why, but I watched. It is the season. All right.
Yes.
So I didn't say I didn't know why, but I do know why. It's the season. Watch Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh, man. You did it.
I did. 87.
You really went and did it.
Now, this movie is famous for the first half of it being nothing more than recap of the first movie.
Yeah, I was like, what in the hell? I do believe I saw that in the theater, too, because I know I saw the first one.
Right.
And this one, yeah, it's just, man.
It's basically like almost 100% flashbacks. And then the main Ricky guy, he goes nuts and he goes on a shooting rampage in a sweater.
Why not?
You know. So the problem with this, not that it isn't a problem enough, all right? The problem with this is that
right?
I was just checking it out because I like to look on IMDb and try to look up things while I'm watching because I have questions. Sometimes I'm like, how did this fucking get made? That's one of the questions I have sometimes. So I'm doing a little research on it and happened to see our other buddy from the series, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Better watch out. Now, we did review that, okay? And I happened to notice that movie was released on November 9th, 1989. Well, Mr. Ben Harley, I was sitting in my easy chair, and I said, it is November 9th. Not is it November 9th, 1989. It's November 9th, 2019. Exactly 30 years to the day.
Look at that, Jimmo.
I had to watch it.
It was meant to be.
I pulled it out, and old Bill Moseley and Robert Culp is really good in that movie. Yeah. Robert Culp's good in everything.
Yeah.
But he's
that movie's
well,
a mess.
There's a good movie there somewhere. They just didn't find. I mean, Monty Hellman directed that. Now, any movie fan knows who Monty Hellman is. It's kind of like, it's like Fritz Lang doing one of the Have Rocket Real Travel Three Stooges movies, almost no way. Monty Hellman did Two Lane Blacktop, China 9, Liberty 37, did some cult films, okay? So he got paid, made this movie.
Jesus.
Old Bill Moseley's walking around with a tube with a thing on his head with his brain floating around.
His brain hanging out, man. You know, I have a thing about scale and things, Jimmo. There's some tough stuff in that.
He looks like, just by looking at him, looked like a smart guy in that movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because his brain was hanging out, man.
And you could see all of it, yeah. Also for Laura Haring in it from Mulholland Drive. And but it's got some people in it, it's interesting. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I always get interested watching it. It's not great though. I usually watch it. How did I start this? Damn it! Night to myself. What are you doing? Yeah. Are you watching some big movie? No, I'm watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 in full frame. Thanks.
Like why? Mono. Why? Oh yeah.
Mr. Ben Harley.
You did it to yourself.
I need to hurt myself. It's not worth it. So, okay, moving on. Yeah. I don't know Okay, from 1973. What else is from 1973?
Tim O'Sabin.
That's right, I am. Okay. I am not from Spain, however, and this movie is The Lorelei's Grasp. Okay, so this is a monster movie about the legend of the Lorelei. Okay, and it stars Tony Kendall from weird European things that Tony Kendall stars in. So that's about it. So
just go with it, right?
I enjoyed this to the fact I think I'm going to buy the Blu-ray. It's a goofy monster movie, but it's like a full body monster movie, like a monster. So it's like a European version of like the She Creature or something like that. We've seen.
We like that.
Yeah, we do. We're going to talk a little bit more about European monsters that are brash here in a little while.
Yes, they are.
Here, but it was fun to watch. This I had on disc, but I seriously though, there is a Blu-ray double feature with Night of the Sorcerers, which is a movie with a bunch of bikini vampires running around slow motion biting people. So I don't know. Sounds like a winner all around to me. So
yeah, it does.
Well, I might be doing that.
Sure does.
Right. Okay, Mr. Ben Harley. Oh, yes, up right here. Okay, from let's see.
Lay it on me.
Also from 1973. What else is from 1973?
Tim O'Saban.
Well, The Lorelei's Grasp, also.
Yeah.
Right. And Tim O'Saban. It's a 1973 kind of weekend for me.
It's a freak out, yeah.
It sure is, yeah. I was on a 73 freak out. So, watched Horror Hospital.
Okay? Oh, all right.
And that is on Prime.
Yeah, so that's Prime. Yeah, I saw that the other day. Because there's a couple I was going to ask you about that were on Prime.
Well, Rob Wagner gave me the needed push for this gem. Okay, so I had it in my queue, and I'd heard of it. I knew what it was. Look, it stars Michael Gough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there you go, right there, right? We don't need a whole lot more to know than that, right? So, if you watch this movie, the first 4 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, you'll be glued. You'll be like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in. It's basically Michael Gough leads an army of lobotomized monsters and death wheelers.
And death wheelers.
Yeah, in the name of science.
Yeah, I think I've seen this at some point. In the name of science.
Yeah.
Damn scientists.
No.
Bad news, man.
It's
you know how many horror movies have been made about scientists, Timo?
As many as military guys, you're right.
Exactly.
Depends on what era it is, right? Who's the dick?
Right.
Who's the dick this era? So
yeah.
I recommend Horror Hospital. It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's definitely one you can throw in and go, what? Wait a minute, hold on. You start rewinding it and like, what did I say? Wait a minute. Yeah, it's fun. And Rob even said, he goes, I like the movie. It's ridiculous as it is. And I'm like, yeah. And I thought I can't remember if I'd seen it before because he asked me if I'd seen it. I'm like, I don't remember. Yeah, I really don't remember.
Yeah.
And then I started watching it, and the opening looked familiar. But then again, I might have just seen the opening of it once and said, whoa, I need to have time for this movie. I need to have some space and time with this movie. Yeah, good one, though. It is on Prime, like I said, Horror Hospital.
Okay.
So let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Going a couple more things. I'm cruising through this stuff. Yes. From 1979. 1979.
That's a nice year. It's a fine year.
You're going to like this. You're going to be very pleased.
Is it Rock and Roll High School?
No, it's not.
Okay.
You're close.
Right.
Sort of close.
Right. Sort of close. Okay.
Watch The Warriors.
Oh, good. Yeah. That movie's good. You know what? When it came out, guys like us and stuff appreciated it and things like that. Guys, were into this type of stuff.
I told Angie when it came out, it was badass. It was a badass movie when it came out.
Yeah, yeah. But I just think it's gotten a little bit better over the years as far as it's heralded a lot. I think better. Before then, I just think it was just because of what it was.
Right.
But I just think it's a great movie. Right. I just think it's awesome. I love that movie. A lot, and the older that I get, and I appreciate it more and more the older I get. I just do. I think it still holds up pretty well. No, some of it's a little silly and goofy, but I like that.
Well,
I do.
This is it's a Walter Hill movie. Okay.
Yeah.
And I told Angie, we were trying to decide what to watch, and I told Angie, I said, let's watch The Warriors. It's sort of a urban version of Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
And he did that movie as well, of course.
Yeah.
And
he did it well.
Yes. But to me, it's almost like a Greek tragedy.
It's based on a Roman story of like a Roman legion fighting their way back home.
And it almost sounded like the Battle of Thermopylae when they were talking about it, but I don't think that's what it was. But yes, it is one of the and they start the movie. Now here's my problem, and it's because the release that they have of this movie.
Yeah.
is not great. I mean, the problem with the Blu-ray is they added the cartoon panels, the comic book panels. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't understand why that was done.
Right.
You know, it's because it doesn't. Not that it takes anything away from the movie, but what's it adding to? No, it's not adding. It just takes you out of it, and it's such a surreal type of world. You know, it literally is a concrete jungle.
That movie engrossed me as a kid. Like I just when I would watch it, I was so into it. You know, and that's another one of those movies. It has such a feel to it, and it's gritty. And but I don't know. I really enjoy that film.
One thing, Mr. Ben Harley, I like to add that I always forget, and I don't know why I forget this.
Yeah,
but there is a what's his name, Thomas Waits or whatever.
Yeah, Tom
Windows.
Waits. Yeah.
Windows is in it.
Windows. I ain't going with Windows.
Yeah. So
and you know, it's funny. I just saw that picture the other day where we got to meet Windows that time, and there's so many good actors in this film too. That's the other thing. And some went on.
James Remar. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You know, some decent success and stuff. But like, it's just, I don't know. This is still one of those movies that I'll always enjoy for the rest of my life. It'll still always have that feeling to it for me, you know, but it's not the perfect movie. But for me at that time period as a kid, when it came out, it might have been.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, Walter Hill basically makes horror movies that aren't horror movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he turns everything so dark. I mean, this and Southern Comfort both are just dark as shit. And the only thing missing is a monster. They're almost slasher films. And this movie, the slasher's the city. It's the gangs, trying to fight their way back. But it's an odyssey. It's a total odyssey. And it's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Yeah. Look out for the orphans, too.
Those orphans, man, they're as tough
they brought
as me.
Their own, they brought their own headlines to show you how bad.
They did.
Press clippings.
I think that was great how they fooled them by telling how bad they were. That's great. Last up, Mr. Ben Harley, something I really wanted to talk about.
Sure.
Also on Prime, you might have watched this and forgotten or something like that, but from 2019, from our pals over at Small Town Monsters, the show Terror in the Skies. Okay,
I haven't seen that.
All right, this is a Thunderbird show.
Ah, okay.
Like a flying thing show. And most of it is in Illinois.
Is it really?
Yes, Alton, Illinois, which is just 20 minutes or 30 minutes north of me where Kevin Strange is from. It's Alton, Illinois. So they have all these stories about Thunderbirds from Alton, Illinois, and I'm sitting there going, I've never heard one of these ever.
Yeah,
and the other thing, too, is it is a Seth Breedlove movie, which he's done every Small Town Monsters movie, I think.
Yeah.
It's narrated by Lyle Blackburn. I have a couple of issues with it. One is they keep calling it the Prairie State. Okay? Now, I messaged my fellow Illinoisan, Jeff Byers from Creature Replica, and said, hey, you know, and he knows these guys. I said, I'm watching Terror in the Skies, and I said, they keep calling it the Prairie State. I go, I lived there my whole life. Have you ever heard it called the Prairie State? And he gets back and he says, I have. I was like, okay, well, Jesus Christ. All right, well. I have not. I've never.
I don't know that I have.
That might be a Central Illinois thing, but that's not. I've never heard it. It's a Land of Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's not the Prairie State. I've never heard that. That sounds like a Kansas or something.
That's what I would think. Yeah, somewhere with some wide open plains.
Yeah, but they keep saying the Prairie State. I'm like, what? So, okay, you might have heard it, but I have not. I asked Angie, and she's not from here. She said, I've never heard it called that either. But so I told Jeff, I was like, well, I was just questioning, if I've never heard that, and I've never heard these stories from Alton. Now, the stories from Alton took place in the 40s. So a Thunderbird story the Thunderbird story from the 40s might have got past me. It might have. But I asked him, I was like, I just was wondering if that's BS. I'm just wondering what else in this is BS. And he says, well, I know my story isn't. And I was thinking, well, of course not. You wouldn't lie to me about being the Prairie State. And I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. Are you in this?
Yeah, like, what story are you talking about? Yeah,
he is in it.
Sure.
He is in it. Yeah. No, he saw Thunderbird. Yeah, he's in it.
Did he?
Yeah, he said and I think he. It's not his thing a whole lot, but it's a real simple story. He was just driving at night, and he thought there was a guy on the side of the road, And he was coming up on it, and the headlights hit it, and it looked up, and it was a bird and flew away. And he thought it was a guy.
Wow. Really?
And it was eating some roadkill or something. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. It's the story. And Sir Ian Baird, he saw a Thunderbird one time.
Did he really?
Yes. So I, and I said, and Jeff said, well, the story is accurate. It's me telling it. He said, but the animated CGI bird, the mutant buzzard monster, is not what I saw. I said, yeah. I go, no. I said, Ian just said that what he saw was like a single engine plane, like bird.
That's huge.
It is a huge bird. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's a huge bird.
That's huge.
When we think condors have wingspans of like 8 feet, it's it's not out of the question of possibility. I mean, this is what I told Jeff, because I think Jeff gets a little. He's a private guy. I think him letting his stories out there, he's torn about it. And I said, listen, you just said you saw a huge bird. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Andre the Giant was a huge person, and he was real, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But no, it's not bad. And there are some stories from like in the late 70s, right when I lived in the actual region that they're talking about, the Thunderbirds. Yes. I can't say I've ever seen a Thunderbird. I've seen turkeys fly into my trees and roost. They can get scary. There was a meteorite fall in St. Louis last night that I saw.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I looked over to Angio, and I was sitting out in the sunroom. I almost forgot about this. I was sitting out in the sunroom, and in the corner of my eye, I thought I saw lightning. And I looked over, and I told Angio, I go, I think somebody just shot a flare off.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
Nope.
I'm like, yeah. I go, I see and I looked around. I didn't see anything, and it was right around the corner, and then I saw a snowplow drive by. I said, well, if there's somebody who needs help down there, the snowplow will see him.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So we're good. And then this morning and got up, and Angio said that she saw on the news that, no, that was a meteorite that hit St. Louis.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't.
No. It wasn't
an extinction event.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. We don't want that.
But I saw it hit the atmosphere because I thought it was lightning.
Yeah.
And I saw.
Well, we've talked about this before. Yeah. I have really good luck with seeing shooting stars and meteors. I've seen so many that even Wendy thought I was kidding until she saw one with me. Said, there it is. See, right there. She was like, you gotta be shitting me. Nope, there it is.
Well, it's funny because I saw the flash and then I saw the meteorite, but my perception, and take this for what it is.
Sure.
My perception was it was a flash going up and arcing and coming back down.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing or listening to people who are telling their stories, you do have, as much as we appreciate that, you do see things the way you see them. And your mind is trying to put together what you're seeing very quickly, and it's giving you the best answer to what you've seen that you have. Me, it was a flare. The thing that bothered me was the flash. Mm-hmm. Something got me to look out of my corner of my eye, and it's right out the window of the sunroom, and I saw it. And it looked like it was, I don't know, 200 or 300 yards away. And it was miles and miles away.
Miles and miles.
Yeah,
it was in the atmosphere.
Yeah. So, but very interesting though. But getting back, so that was the flying creature that I saw. But no, I've never seen a Thunderbird, and I've lived in Illinois my whole life. I did see, like I said, a black cat, a big black cat, like people see, which is that's not that unusual, really, when you think about it. Either. Yeah, that's what it looked like. But so interesting little story. Our show. I can't confirm anything. They do talk a lot about the Piasaw bird. Now, the Piasaw bird is a Thunderbird from the Native Americans around here, and they actually had the Piasaw bird. Next time you come in town, Mr. Ben Ollie, which would be nice if that was soon. But next time you come in town, when you're driving down the highway, look at the overpasses and the bridges. There is like a Native American, looks like a crow or something. That's like a mural type thing on the sides of the bridges. That's the Piasaw bird. That's the Thunderbird.
Nice.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. So even the Native Americans knew.
And so did the civil engineers that made the bridges.
Yeah.
Give a little credit to the Piasaw bird. So anyway, but so now I know you've been busy. You've been doing a lot. I mean, it's your busy time of year. Listen, when you're making things, actually most people's busy time of year is before the first of the year. And we're hitting it. We're up against a wall. Yeah. So Ben Harley here, he's been very busy. He hasn't. I've been trying to pick up a lot of slack on stuff that we've watched before the show.
Yes, sir.
We're about ready to get to our official film, but I do know one thing that kind of ties in with the official film. This is a newer movie in the family of giant animal movies.
Run amok, right?
But you, is this the first time you've seen it? But you sat down and watched The Meg.
The Meg.
Now, was that the first time you watched The Meg?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, it was? Okay, I thought maybe you'd seen it.
No, I kind of wanted to go to the theater and see it when it came out, but it escaped me, which, it was
elusive.
Yes, it was. It's very prehistoric and elusive. Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to find. But I had a problem going in with the first of it, like the title, and I guess after watching it, okay, I kind of understand why they stuck with the title the way they did, but it was dumb to me. The Meg, it's just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say it to somebody. Like, have you seen The Meg? Like, oh God, I don't even want to say it. Right. It sounds dumb. It's so dumb. But anyways, so yes, Tim, I finally put my beady little eyes on it. I just watched the DVD, so it looked okay. I mean, the transfer's all right. There's nothing really to write home about, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. Now you've seen this, right, Tim? You said you've watched this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen it.
So, I'm not going to lay anything new on you. So you've already seen it. So it's funny because I ended up getting this from the library, and because I didn't want to buy it.
Library.
Yeah, and I didn't really want to rent it either. Yeah. So I'm cheap lately. I don't know. Anyways, I call it frugal.
Really?
Yeah, I call it frugal.
Well, I've got a little bit of money.
yeah. So, yeah, I went to the library, and I didn't want to stop by there anyhow because, they used to have a sort of decent Blu-ray collection.
Oh, they got a cute librarian. Stop it.
Yeah,
go ahead, move forward.
Well, that too.
Move forward.
So yes, I went in and I found the Meg, and it was funny because one of the librarian ladies, she saw it. She's like, I like this movie, but I couldn't find it, and she couldn't find it either, and then it kind of made her mad. So she had to find it at this point. Mm-hmm. So she found it for me, and she actually, she said she liked it, and there was some silly stuff in it. And I thought, well, if this lady likes it, she didn't look like a giant monster movie fan by any means, Timo. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, if she might like it, it has to be maybe halfway decent or whatever. So I was going for what the librarian told me. So I took it upon the advice of the librarian and my friend Timo. I think had told me a little bit about it before.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yes, I knew going in I'm not going for, you're not going to get Shakespeare or you're not going to get any Spielberg or Hitchcocky type things. I know they're going to rip Jaws off a couple times, at least. I know that going in. So, but the stuff that they didn't really bother me too much. It was all right, whatever. But this movie, I don't even know. I don't want to talk about the whole thing to set the whole thing up because it's it's a long movie. Yeah. But
it's a Chinese-American co-production, and it's just a research. What is like an underwater research place, kind of like to me, where people said it was like Jaws. No, it reminded me more of Deep Blue Sea. Is that fair?
Yes, me too. Yeah, for sure. And I didn't really mind Deep Blue Sea. It's okay. It's all right, movie, okay. But
when I watched it, just to kind of paraphrase here, when I watched it, it kind of was like one of those Deep Star 6 type of movies with a megalodon shark in place of just another creature, and there was a lot of elements to those movies and a lot of elements of Deep Blue Sea, basically. And whereas they're making references to Jaws and things like that, it's really more like those movies. So it's kind of a science fiction thriller where Jaws is an adventure thriller. In a way. You to me, you sounds like you're struggling a little bit. And I think a lot of people had a hard time with this because they really couldn't tell you whether or not they liked it or not. I think they liked the idea of it. And I think they like what people did with it. There just wasn't a lot there to do. No, and it seems like they overplayed the international hand of the cast. And they underplayed some of the shark stuff. That's what it's it's got that big budget feel to it. It did have some funny moments and things like that, but that's kind of what they're going for, and it had too many goofy things for me. And I just it left me kind of like, all right.
And then I brought it downstairs, yesterday while I was printing and and had guys put it in for, the guys, whatever. And it just, I don't know, left me kind of wanting a little bit. Now, once the Megalodon actually reached the beach or whatever and stuff like that, it got a little interesting. I'll say that, because I'm interested in that. I'm like, here's a shark that is like 100 feet long, and not that I'd really want to see people get eaten, Timo. Now, that's not my thing.
Yes, stop it. I just the librarians make you go soft.
Yeah.
After.
Well, we had some aromatherapy. Come on. All right.
I'm in after the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to see, like, if you're going to put a giant shark on film, I want to see what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So there's just some stuff in it that just makes me, I don't know.
I think
I will say one thing I appreciate. It didn't really leave open anything for a part 2, like nothing. I didn't see anything and I'm like, oh God, they're just going to beat us over the head with that at the end. No, not at all. Not one bit, which I was really surprised. That was the biggest surprise of the movie for me.
Well, do you think that we've hit that point? I think of all people, I think Spielberg brought this up. That we're going to reach this point where nobody cares anymore because they don't care because it's not, they know what they're seeing is just made in a computer. Yeah.
And that's the thing. To me, there's parts of this film that are so god awful. Like, I'm like, are we going backwards with this CGI? Because it didn't look good to me at all. I'm like, that looks, I mean, Deep Blue Sea, some of them sharks look better, and that movie's 20 years old. And I'm like, the CGI from that looked better. I'm like, what is going on, man? Like,
I think it has. I think it has the opposite.
And it took me way out of it.
Yeah. Well, to me, CG has become like the opposite of stop motion, where stop motion was real jittery and kind of clunky looking. Yeah. But it was something that was really there. The CG it looks like it doesn't look real. It looks like it's too fluid. It's moving in weird ways, and it's almost like they're moving it just because they can.
Yeah,
and that's bothersome to me because it's distracting. It's like, and they don't edit anymore. See, they used to when you used to have a creature and it was a practical creature, they had to shoot it in certain lighting and edit it and only show part of it at one time and stuff. Yeah. So it gave you this sense of stress because you never really saw the whole damn thing. It was just coming at you, but you didn't know where it was. And I think now it's just like Finding Nemo. Here comes the shark. They're going to hang on it. Yeah. It's way far away. It's coming right towards you. It's moving around like it is a liquid or something. And it's like, now it's emoting. The face is emoting. It's like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? And it's not memorable because there's nothing to remember. It's like, yes, I've seen computer generated stuff, and to computer. Listen, here's a way of articulating it. In Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan, Gary Sinise, his leg being chopped off, that was CG. Yeah, it's just as impressive as the entire movie of the Meg.
Yes,
it's the same thing. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's like, who cares? When you saw Jaws and the rubber shark, you looked at the shark almost to see how good or how bad it was, or you found the flaws in it and did things like that. But it was still there. Yeah. And it moved.
I'm still terrified of that shark.
Well, it moved. Yeah. It didn't move like a shark necessarily, but it moved. And it moved like that shark.
Yes.
And okay, so you never saw the dorsal fin, you never saw the back fin. Do you ever notice that? Mm-hmm.
No, you didn't, because there was one.
Yeah, nobody ever calls out that movie on that. It's like, come on, man. You don't just see one fin when a shark's after you. You see the back one, too. Come on now. Yep. But they don't. And so, but it was there. It was there. And
exactly.
I think.
And it just, it helps. It's helpful for your eye. It is. Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, now there are a couple parts that are pretty good. Now they are. But I'm to the point, Timo, where I'm and it's a lot to do with action movies too. I'm so tired of all these things happening that would never happen in the real world. Or if it did, it would be such a coincidence. You know what I mean? Like, okay, show me one coincidence, but not 10 in a row where like this guy, there's no way that person's going to survive through this. Like, and it's because they don't care. It's gotten to the point where things happen at such a pace and stuff. And for me, it takes me so far out of these movies because I can't believe it anymore. I can't suspend disbelief enough because it's so unbelievable. that I can't do it no more.
Well, it's a bit of
And
the Matrix in a way, where
Yeah.
where people have become so engrossed and consumed in screens, and
Yeah.
whatever's being fed into their eyes, going directly into their brain, is what's coming off of that screen. The real world is really like it's sort of it's an afterthought. The real world to them is that they don't understand it, they don't get it, and I think that's an issue. That's an and some people call it fake news and stuff. It's, it's funny to hear a lot of stuff, but it's a little deeper than that.
Yeah,
it really is. It's for people that are looking for a truth these days. Boy, it's tough with anything.
It's really tough
with anything. I mean, how do how do I set this on my computer? There's 19 different people telling 19 different things. It's the gloves are off almost. People just don't care anymore. It's like there is no limits for anything anymore. And I don't really think that's a good thing, because without limits, you've just killed punk rock.
Yes.
I don't want to live in a society that doesn't have a place for punk rock to keep its eye on the squares. Being square has worked pretty well for humanity for a long, long time, but you need the punk rockers to keep an eye on it. When everybody goes punk rock, this world is fucked.
We're in big trouble, man. Yeah.
Big
trouble.
Does that make any sense to you? Like, I directly assert that into the filmmakers and the people that were involved in putting together those effects and those scenes and stuff like that. I just found the movie, it's just not memorable because it's all CG. There's nothing in it impressive. It's not impressive.
No.
I mean, how well can you draw? So that's how impressive it is. It's like, great, I don't care. But I didn't hate the movie, though. I will say I didn't hate it. But man, it could have been better. I mean, really, it could have been better. Yeah. Wasn't this the movie that was coming out when you were in line? Wasn't it down at that little diner place on their corner, and somebody said, "I heard they're remaking Jaws."
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was the Meg, right? It was the Meg they were talking about. Yeah, and they thought they were remaking Jaws. So
yeah, that's
the world we live in.
Exactly.
And you know what? In his world, they did remake Jaws. It's called the Meg.
Yep.
And all you have to do is go out online and start saying that. And then people will start arguing for you. They'll start arguing for you that you're correct.
It turned me off on it, even wanting to see it there for a minute, know, and stuff.
Right.
But it's okay as far as giant monsters or not.
Yeah, it didn't piss me off. It didn't piss me off. It was okay.
It's fine. I just was very disappointed in the CGI, which that's no big news here anymore, because I just think it's getting awful. I don't think there's enough good people out there anymore, or they're just making them at such a rapid pace that you can't spend enough time on them making them look good. It's like, no, get it done. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, get it done.
Well, you go back and look at Deep Star 6 and the Abyss and stuff, and look at all those miniatures and how brilliant they are.
Yeah.
And you realize, you know what? That took a lot of man hours and time, and everybody just wants to throw that into a computer now. Well, you know what? Those miniatures were striking back then. The effects during that era in the late 80s, it's not even my favorite era in movies, but the effects in the late 80s and through the 90s, when CG was touching movies, they were just doing little things with movies here, maybe one effect or something. That was great, man. Those are great. They really knew how to make. I mean, well, you know what? Cain waved. There we go. So
Cain waved.
Let's get to our official film, Mr. Ben Harley.
Let's do it, my friend.
Let's see, to springboard off of the Meg.
The Meg.
Going back in time a little bit, from 1989, our official film this week is the Italiano movie, Killer Crocodile.
Yeah. Why is he so mad? Why is he?
Or as I like to call him, Stationary Crocodile. Released from our friends at Severin Films. Okay. So this is a Severin.
I believed more in this crocodile than I did the Meg. So
hey, whoa! I'm not arguing with you there. That's fine.
So, I did. Yeah.
Let me get out, movie guy, and give you a short storyline here for Killer Crocodile.
Killer Crocodile.
Right, here we go.
Yes.
A group of environmentalists arrive at a faraway tropical delta where toxic waste is being dumped. However, the water also hides a giant crocodile. Yes. And this is another Jaws. It's unabashedly a Jaws ripoff. I mean, it starts with acoustic guitar very poorly trying to replicate the opening of Jaws. I mean, just in a really... Now, I do appreciate the bathing suits in this movie, because those are the best bathing suits. Those high-rising hip dealers. Oh, Lordy, that I'm telling you right now.
Those are definitely spring break. What 80?
89 is good for me, man. Whatever you want to say, but I'm on board. I am on board.
I would say 87 through 80. I'm trying to
Right, I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
The movie, let's see here, directed by Fabrizio De Angelis, otherwise known as this movie as Larry Ludman. God,
Larry.
these people, when they Americanize their names, are really not very creative or imaginative at all. So,
what do they think of us? Larry.
Right. He's an Italian, of course, exploitation producer, director. To me, he's more of a prolific producer. He produced Zombie, The Beyond, New York Ripper, 1990, The Bronx Warriors. Warriors, The Wasteland, Escape from the Bronx. So if it was in the Bronx or a Wasteland or a Warrior, he was probably involved in the Italian movie.
He had something to do with it.
Right. The star of the film, the Harold Handsome Pants guy, that's Richard Anthony Crenna. And yes, he is Richard Crenna's son.
Nice.
Yes, he plays Kevin. So Kevin is also... He's Agent Baxter on the Roswell TV show. Did a few things, not a whole lot or anything like that. Also starring a Van Johnson. Van Johnson was Judge. He was the old codger that was dressed like Brando on Island of Dr. Moreau. He's the mighty white god of the jungle. Now, he was in the Kane Mutiny, 23 Paces to Baker Street, Battleground, Brigadoon. Let's see here, but you know him best, I'm sure, from the Batman series as the Minstrel.
The Minstrel, yeah.
So basically the movie is environmentalist, not very good environmentalist. They jump into the swamp water in hazmat suits and gas masks. Now, did you just stop when you saw that? I mean, I was just like, oh boy. When I looked, I was like, yeah, we're in for it. I mean, I was in. I'm like, oh, hazmat suit and gas mask, jump into a swamp, 60 yards, maybe, maybe 50 feet over to a bunch of barrels of toxic waste. So I can just see me like, you park the boat over there far enough away from the radioactivity waste. That's just right there. Yeah, you put on the gear and jump in the water. What? So,
just do it.
Right, and they
Time's
don't.
wasted.
Do they ever really connect it to the crocodile for real? They just kind of say this stuff's here, and then this stuff is here.
Yeah, and I know he tells the one guy to stop dumping. You have to stop dumping over there for a while because we have some environmentalists here.
Right.
That's all I remember that part.
Yeah. So anyway, they figure out that there's nonsense going on in the swamps or whatever, and then our good friend Cochita, she goes looking for her dog. Yeah. And then she gets eaten, and then everybody searches for her by yelling her name as they leave the area. This has about as much mental sense as Night of the Demon does, the Bigfoot movie. It was my favorite scene still from Night of the Demon, and this movie is as a capsule of this. Is when the guy, when the people they're by the river, and the young guy goes to the bank of the river and looks, and their boats are gone, and he runs about 10 feet, and he's like, "You guys, come over here." What is it? Come over here. What's the problem? Just come over here. And they walk like 5 steps. The boats are gone. This movie is that for an hour and a half. For an hour and a half, which is brilliant.
It really is.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Italy. You gave us the best food and the best funny movies. I'm telling you right now. So, And so then Van Johnson plays the evil Nazi conservative. And then the other people are the misunderstood and brave herbal environmentalists. So, and I tease about that sometimes, but I think my problem is that, like if you take a movie like Prophecy, that's an environmental movie too. But Robert Foxworth is not an environmentalist in that movie. He just needs a break from the city. And so it shows the humanity of everyone. Now, look, I might be be expecting a little bit much from Killer Crocodile. Okay, just wanted to throw that in there a little bit. So if people are like, man, this guy really hates liberals. No, I'm not saying that. It's just that it seems like in movies they only show the humanity of one side of an issue, which bothers me. I think it's
too.
where we're at today is because of these things. Anyway, moving forward. And then you have Jaws on a river with a mildly stationary. The crocodile I've seen worse. It's a little rubbery,
a lot worse. But it moves a little stiff, buddy. It does. But
sometimes it's only a head.
But in its defense, it really looked okay though. There's and I'm gonna have to go back to it. It's so much more believable to me though. I don't know why, but it just is. I can't,
Well,
the crocodile itself, it keeps wherever it pops out, it must be standing on something though, because it's always like, now the water is about 10 feet down and the crocodile is about 20 feet in the air. Like, wait a second. No, I know perspective, but that's just a little bit much. But you know what? Hey, Timo, once again, I gotta suspend some disbelief.
Yeah.
But I actually really preferred this giant, ugly rubber crocodile to what I saw in the Meg. I just did. It was fucking, I don't know. It's weird.
It's kind of the companion piece for the shark and great white.
Yeah.
It's not that it looked bad. It's just how they moved it and shot it. It's not nothing. I mean, really,
it also roared like the shark and great white.
Right.
I didn't know they roared, but
and it's like mysteriously, like just not quite as good as its American counterparts. It's like the shark and great white was. It was kind of. I don't know. It only had one thing it did. It came straight up and. But when you looked at it, like that's just it's almost like a real good toy of Jaws, of the shark and Jaws or whatever. But it is a good companion for the shark and great white. It was like they were both made for still photos. Exactly. Shot in the Dominican Republic, by the way, if you're wondering where they were shooting. So. But no, I don't disagree. Now the movie. So what happens is the people when they find Conchita. And she's dead. Yes. And boy, does she have a goofy look in her face when they find her dead. I think she was doing it as a joke. Did you see the look in her face?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I thought she had something in her face. Something got caught up her nose or something. The way she was
trying to laugh.
Because they pulled her out of the water, and she comes popping out of the water,
popping out like a Jaws 2. Yeah,
it does not look good though. You're right.
So they go back to where Van Johnson, the Great White God, and all of his money grubbing people are, and they're upset because Conchita, and they're like, you kids. They really quickly try to pin it on the kids because they don't want anybody. They don't want anybody out there snooping around to find their dumping grounds, basically.
No.
And so immediately, the Quint character. Joe.
Oh yeah, you noticed him, right?
The Quint character who is.
I thought it was just me. I was hoping.
He has a Lee Van Cleef stunt double flavor to him.
Yeah, he does.
That's always a plus. That is always a plus, by the way. So he comes in and goes, "No, that's a croc."
Yeah.
And that's it. It's over. That's a croc. No, I know my croc. That's a croc. Now he's kind of the guy who doesn't care. He just wants to shoot animals.
Yeah, he does not like that crocodile either.
Yeah,
he hates him.
He doesn't want to be bothered with the people's politics versus Van Johnson. He just wants to shoot shit. That's all he wants to do.
Show me where and where to shoot.
Right. So at that point, then we just have kind of scenes of the people going from one spot to another, and then you have interspliced mayhem.
Yes.
One funny part is the super. They're on a dock. There's some people on a dock, and then
we gotta talk about
the crocodile hits the dock. Okay.
Yes.
Doc partially goes in the water.
Kids out there. Yeah, there's two little kids. The one kid throws the other kid's like dolly or something in the water. So they're both trying to fish the doll out of the water. Yeah. And the croc shows up. And that's a pretty finely built dock, if I must say.
Well, it sure is.
It's like they build it
I like to use rotting wood for my docks when I build them, too.
Yeah,
so,
and very little wood.
Right.
On your dock, either.
And make sure you have extremely clumsy people around, too, if you ever get in trouble, because these guys basically try to help the girl and fall headfirst into the croc's mouth.
Yeah, now that's what I want to speak of, Tim. Okay, now, I am a
caution to the
father.
wind.
Yeah, I am a father, and I think it was this gentleman's daughter. I do believe that he was trying to save, and he came over to try to save her, and she's like halfway down the dock, holding on to the top of the dock as she's sliding towards the crocodile's mouth. Well, yeah, he comes over, and if I was a father, and that was my daughter, Timo, and I would have got that incredible Hulk strength at that point, where I probably literally could have picked my daughter, and the kid wasn't very big either, with one hand, grabbed her by the wrist, and I would have I could have yanked up 3 children at that point, because I'd have been so amped up, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this poor guy. Right. This poor guy comes over, instead of lifting her easily, very easily, onto the dock, he slides down the dock and tries to push her up the dock. While a very large crocodile, I must say, is chomping at his feet. Like, to me, it was like the worst move ever. I'm like, that was the wrong move, pal. Like, what? You know?
Right.
And
well, the other poor guy comes
like,
to help, and he just goes straight through the rotted wood, you know, and he gets it worse. He gets all pulled down in slow motion, like blood everywhere and stuff, you know.
And I'm thinking that crocodile is really hungry, because he just ate that other guy.
I wrote that down. I'm going to say, this is one hungry croc. That's what I wrote down. It's like, usually a crocodile eat a person, it's probably full for a while. It doesn't really want to get in harm's way anymore.
No, it wants to go lay down somewhere.
Yeah, it's kind of done. So we have this mayhem, and not unlike Jaws, then they kind of go after it, I guess.
They're mad at that point. Yeah, they're mad.
After it. So
you know why? Because they broke that dock. The one guy was mad about the dock. I'm like, dude, that dock was the piece of shit. Beep. Man, you're lucky that crocodile knocked it over so you could build a real one.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, the movie it really takes a toll on your mental health. Whenever the Quint character and the other guys are kind of going after the crocodile, and if you ever want to see if you look from a distance, you might fool yourself into believing that I just see Lee Van Cleef surfing a crocodile.
Yes,
he's croc surfing, isn't he?
He's
standing on a crocodile while it's moving in the water,
stabbing it. And he's riding it quite well, because it's doesn't even move. He just kind of goes. It looked like a guy on one of those boards now, those wakeboards or whatever they call them.
Yes, I've seen him many times in Jamaica and stuff. That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah. So then he is mysteriously disappeared. They act like he was eaten, but never really show a whole lot of it.
No,
but luckily, he's got his lucky hat. He's got his lucky hat, Mr.
It's a hell of a Panama Jack hat.
So then we have the strangest. I mean, this ending of this movie makes as much sense as Jaws' Revenge. Exactly. I mean, it's basically Lee Van Cleef, his lucky hat, and the self-aware exploding propeller.
Yes. And he's yelled out.
Am I right?
Yeah.
It's a hat. Comes floating through. My hat. Use the propeller. Use a propeller. Ben Harley, in about a minute into that shit, I looked at the TV and said, just use the fucking propeller. And he did. I didn't know it was full of liquid. I didn't know it was full of nitroglycerin. You know, I had no idea. Yeah. So, what a movie!
Yeah, for sure. You know, Tim, I'm gonna have to tell you, like, I knew I was in for something, like, and I apologize because I forgot to mention this it didn't get started like the green slime, like not exactly like that.
No, but
it had a little. It had a little green slime. Like it took about an extra 2 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But there's these 2 guys. They're fishing. And they don't like where they're fishing. They're like, I ain't coming back here next year. And it's just them, and it keeps like zooming in on them. And then all of a sudden, there's the giant killer crocodile. And it's full on.
Yeah.
Full on right in your face. And it's just killer crocodile. And I'm like, yeah, I was sold. Boom.
Right.
And I don't care that I didn't like as much of the rest of it. but that beginning, I was in, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, Van Johnson really put himself into this movie. He is a good actor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was the guy he was the name recognition guy. They tried with Crenna because of his dad a little bit, but really he was a name recognition, and I was impressed that he really threw himself into it. I mean, he did a good job being professional, which is cool. It's kind of cool to see that. I will say one thing too. Now, there is one moment in the movie. It's got a couple of fun little moments.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where they're like one of the gals and like they're in a tent at night. And they look out into the water and the croc's head is just sitting there and its eyes like white.
Look cool.
And it was so effective. It stuck out in the movie. Because even Angie, I was like, well, that would be creepy to look out your tent and see that thing sit in the water.
Yeah.
And it was very spooky looking. And it was the only spooky moment, I think, of the whole movie, but it was so spooky. It was like, wow, you could build a whole movie around that little spooky scene.
Because it was like the crocodile was just sitting there like stalking.
Right.
Just sitting there. And it looked really good. And then it was funny because they're like, she's like, come here, look, it's over. And it was gone. I was like, damn, that sucks because I want to see that again. It was like kind of cool.
Yeah, it was peeking its head up, and it looked really spooky. And a lot of these movies too, and we mentioned Night of the Demon, the Bigfoot movie, not the 50s witchcraft movie, the Bigfoot movie. That all these bad movies seem to have a moment or two. Yeah. Where they're like, all right, these people like, and it makes it better because they were trying. They weren't trying to make a bad movie. They were trying to make a good movie. And those are the best bad movies. Yeah. Is when nobody's in on the joke but the audience. Yeah. And that's what gives these movies legs, is that they tried so hard. And I think what happens is guys like us, we laugh at it. We appreciate the fact that they went with this. Yeah. I mean, they just went with it and they did it. And, when you look at the script of this, I bet it looked a lot better than when it came up on screen, too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What a fun movie.
For sure.
It looks great too. Severn, as I said, Severn put this out. Our friends over at Severn, and the very nice guys over at Severn too. Go look at their catalog. They do good work on their movies, and like a couple of other companies that we know too. They, I don't want to say you can throw taste out the window because it's all my taste. I love this shit. Sure. And they give a lot of care to these silly old movies that if they didn't do it, we'd all be thirsting for this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean,
exactly. If someone didn't do it, and these and people like that who loved them as much as we did, and were to take the time, we'd be screwed.
Right. Well, we would be screwed. No, I mean seriously, and it's just a fun as hell movie. It really is. It's such a good movie. Now the disc that I have,
Timo told me it's Italian. Go with it one time, and I've learned to listen. And
but the Blu-ray that I got from them, it also has Crocodile 2, Killer Crocodile 2. I haven't seen it, but it's shot back to back with the other one, so I'll have to report back. I just wanted to review Killer Crocodile. And I'll look at the second one and see where we're at with that one there. But they did a hell of a job, and I think that's very cool too. That you buy this Killer Crocodile, and you think, I don't know if I want to spend $20-$30 on Killer Crocodile. Yeah, and then you open it and be like, there's 2 movies in here.
2 movies, yeah.
I mean, come on, and and as a collector, you have to have this stuff. You just have to.
And that's a nice a treat. Especially like for you, Timmy, as a collector, like to get something like that extra, it's just nice, man.
Right.
And
these are guys. These are guys that come over to DVD Bob's table, and they talk to him about movies, and they get stuff from him, and almost like collaborate. And they talk to me, they talk to Bob about movies and about what's interesting, are interesting people, what movies are piquing people's interest, I should say. I mean, what do we need to have out there and stuff? And they listen, and they put this stuff out there, and they're very, you would think they might not be friendly with Bob or not, but they are. Yeah. And because we want to see this stuff out. We want to see this out. I mean, you aren't really happy until everything that you say is out of print is available. Yeah. You want to see these things as good as you can. And we're in an era now, we need to get this stuff out, because I don't know how much longer physical media is going to be around. And but I'll tell you what, it is becoming more nichey, and I am really enjoying Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, our friends at Synapse. These guys are all doing people like me a great service. And I hope that we're buying enough to keep these people going too, because keep them coming, really. Because this was brilliant. I love this movie. I'm going to give it a big great bape up. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. It's a fun, bad movie.
Yeah.
It's not boring.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's got enough smarmy characters too in it, I don't care about the Jaws ripoff stuff anymore. I never really did much as a kid because I knew what was going on. It is what it is, and I get a little tired of it. The same plot, right? Because you could still do like Orca. You could do another movie that's not the same plot.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoyed the film a lot, and I actually enjoyed the crocodile. I had no problem with the crocodile in this. I actually was impressed that it looked as good as it did, because I was like, this movie, it's going to have a crocodile that they're pulling behind a pontoon, and it's going to look awful. And actually, I was like, wow, they really went all out, man, on this.
Yeah. Great job, Severin. A lot of fun. I don't think I've ever seen this before, so that was also an extra bonus for me, and it will be watched again for sure. So good times. Riff Tracks would have a good time with this.
They would have a great time with this one, man.
This movie too.
This would be right up there, River.
Right. All right. Well, big great bape up for me. Good fun great bape up. How about you again, Mr.
Yeah,
Ben
me
Harley?
too. Big great bape up. Not quite to the rafters, but almost.
Good.
Tickling.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I had fun, and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Right. So again, I think you can find this on Amazon, but look it up. Seven released it. Killer Crocodile. You do get Killer Crocodile 2, I guess. That's what I got. So I don't know if that was a special bonus limited edition or not, but trust me, even if it's just Killer Crocodile 1, it's worth a purchase. So
it's worth it, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, Mr. Ben Harley, next week, I think I do know what we're going to do, but I'm not telling the audience or you.
Ooh, okay.
So
how am I going to?
I know. This is going to be a trick, and I'm working on my sleight of hand, Mr. Ben Harley. Working my sleight of hand. So we're going to see if we can come together.
Yeah.
And if we can make it happen. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about right now. So why don't we get the hell out of here, okay? All right, folks. Till next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.